So, Caitlin Clark had a damn good college career. I think we're all in agreement on that. She had an unbelievable college career, and what she has done for basketball overall has been unbelievable. It has been absolutely unbelievable. And I don't think anyone can question that. And I think it's also fair to say that the momentum that Caitlin Clark has or brought it did carry over. The momentum from last year, it carried over. And yes, Caitlin Clark games are still way more viewed than any games this year. The non-Caitlin Clark games are more viewed this year than last year. So that is a positive. And that is the good thing when it comes to college ball. It is all about the momentum. It's all about the long-term growth. It's all about people becoming more fans of the sport. And that's a huge thing. That's a really, really important thing. But basically, we have now seen so many interviews. Not so many interviews, sorry, articles basically saying some nonsense. They're saying some absolute nonsense. So basically, college had, like, national TV games in college had a lot of coverage. They had more viewers than last year, in fact. And do you want to know why? And people are like, oh, he thought why weren't they hired with Caitlin Clark? Because ESPN didn't have Big Ten games. They were showing the Big Ten network. So, like, we can't compare when Paige goes and plays on ESPN versus Caitlin's Big Ten games. And in fairness to Iowa, I don't think they played this crazy out of conference schedule. And I don't think she had many. She did not have many nationally televised games last year. And she definitely, in fairness to Caitlin Clark by herself, Caitlin Clark a year ago was as popular as she was. She wouldn't have pulled in the same viewers as a combination of Paige and Juju. Like, that was a huge game. Everyone watched that game. But we're seeing so many articles here. Many people doubted women's college basketball ratings would stay strong with Caitlin Clark no longer in the mix. However, those people are wrong. Like, who? Who said that Caitlin Clark leaving would hurt UConn's numbers? Like, this whole article about it is talking about how the game thrived. Women's college basketball and the pro game has thrived with Caitlin Clark. First of all, Unrivaled did not thrive, views-wise. Unrivaled did a lot of things well. A lot of people and I literally read an article that was like things the WNBA can learn from Unrivaled. And it's like, and one of the things was, pay the players more and give the players childcare. And I'm like, what do you mean learn from Unrivaled for that? I'm sorry, there needs to be money to, especially with the way major American sports leagues works. Unrivaled is its own thing. They can pay the players whatever the hell they want. And Unrivaled is a brand new, non-established league where players aren't really getting brand deals from it. So, like, players have to, like, you'd have to give people a lot of money to go and play in Unrivaled because it's not the W, it's not the pinnacle of women's basketball. But, like, that's the thing. That is the thing. It's like, it's a mad thing. And with all due respect, I think it's worth knowing that most of the additional fans, both women's college, WNBA, are Caitlin Clark fans. And I'm not even going to say Caitlin Clark fans. I think a lot of fans came in to watch women's basketball, whether that be during her run, whether that be during her run the second year, whether it be this year in the WNBA. And there is an awful lot of people that came to basketball because of Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark's no longer their favorite player. Came to women's basketball. They support another team. And, like, it is a mad thing. And it's crazy because and look, this is the worst thing I've ever read. Is women's basketball fighting a catch-22 that previously held it back? I can guarantee you that is a freaking reference to her number. Like, you just know it is. But everything is, they're doing well without Caitlin Clark. Well, they should be. They were doing fine before. Like, women's college ball was okay before. Like, do people not get what basically happened? Like, it was literally like, women's college basketball was doing okay. And then, in fairness, Breanna was there right before in 2019. Breanna was getting a lot of hype. Kelsey Plum was getting a lot of hype as well. And there were a lot of again, there were a lot of just very hype things. And last year's Caitlin Clark, it was really the tournament. Whereas what had happened was Caitlin Clark went from the college ball to the W, and a lot of people followed her to W, and then women's basketball boomed. So there is a peak there. And instead of celebrating, there's more viewers. We're seeing more and more of the female basketball media making it a, ha, we told you we don't need Caitlin Clark. It's like, that's a good thing. It is a good thing that there are people watching these games. It is a good thing. Like, I don't understand. Like, obviously, the Big Ten tournament final had more viewers this year. It was on CBS. It was on CBS. Of course it did. Of course it did. Like, it's talking about how well non-Clark games are doing in this article, and that's a good thing. Like, genuinely, it is a genuine good thing. But it doesn't have to be some ha-ha gotcha moment, which they're all looking to do. Like, it shouldn't be. I think it's fine to admit. It is literally fine to admit that Caitlin Clark benefited. She did benefit from the growth in women's college basketball hype that Paige Becker, or that Sabrina Ionescu, Paige Beckers did. And that's, we can just make it a graph here. So we're going to go from here to, so it was kind of Stewie and Greiner and Stewie and these players. It was a little bit of hype. And then Sabrina came in. Sabrina's gone. Paige comes in her freshman year. Paige gets hurt. Caitlin, by the end of her second year, is like very close. Very close to where Paige Beckers was in popularity at the end of her first year. And then Caitlin's third year, a little bit. Caitlin's third year tournament to the damn stratosphere. And it helped everyone. Like, it is a rising tide raises all boats. But yet somehow in the media she is the most talked about player in March Madness when she's not even there. She's not even playing. She's not playing, and they're still talking about her more as some sort of gotcha and not making it. This article could have been written in so much of a better way. Instead of making this a pre-Clark, during Clark, post-Clark thing, why not just talk about how good the numbers are? Talk about how, even if you want to have a throwaway, if you wanted to make a throwaway line being like, some people might have been concerned about the ability for women's college basketball to build on the momentum set by, even if you don't want to mention Clark, set by last year's outgoing senior class. But as you can see from the ratings, the game still continues to grow. This could have been an entire positive article. And this is the biggest problem with this. This could have been an entirely positive article about the growth of women's basketball. But it reads like a gotcha, an attempt at a gotcha that's not even like completely accurate either. And again, I'm reading this article and it isn't talking too much about the regular season games and stuff. But I'm like, it's an objective good thing what is happening for women's college ball. It is a good thing. It is an absolute good thing. But saying, like, it's genuine, it's like the idea that women's basketball couldn't reach this peak without Caitlin Clark is false. That is literally a line. Are people intentionally dumb? Like, yes, that's trying to make the argument saying basketball would not have reached the peak it's at without Michael Jordan. Of course it wouldn't. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the league, it does not reach its peak, basketball right now, if it wasn't for Michael Jordan. If it wasn't for Stephen Curry and LeBron James, players would be still making $20 million a year as a max contract. It's fine to say. We can say that in other sports. There are players I don't even particularly like that I'm like, yeah, they were a huge. Even if you don't like LeBron James is a huge reason. You can admit, LeBron James is a huge reason why people make what they're making in the NBA. Without Caitlin Clark, these viewers don't happen. Instead of making it a positive thing, that viewers decided to stay, which is a complete fact. And people literally try to say, oh, like people only watch for Clark because there's 10 people on Twitter being like, oh, we're only watching for Caitlin. The reality is that the game literally grew. The game is growing. How many, if you literally look, if you watch any of these like trends, anything, ratings numbers, Iowa was the biggest state for watching Unrivaled. There was one player in Unrivaled from Iowa, and she literally got hurt for more than half of it, and still Iowa was the main state that watched it because Iowa became completely as a state became obsessed with women's basketball to the complete detriment of their men's college team. And it's so annoying because all of these articles are written in bad faith, because you can literally see these ratings numbers, and these are journalists, instead of choosing to write a positive article. And by the way, you could have basically reworded the same thing and even worded it in a way being like, oh, they're building on, or even that if the viewers are higher, that they built on the hype of the previous year, which is a good thing. But no, they decided to do it to try dunk on Caitlin Clark fans, and they made a wrong point while doing it. None of this happens without Caitlin Clark. We all know that. We absolutely all know that. I think if you ask Dawn Staley that, she'll probably say that. She's the coach of South Carolina. If you ask Juju, who is the most viewed player in women's college basketball, she'll say that those viewership numbers don't happen without Caitlin Clark. Like, most of the players, especially the young players understand. The players that have come up through the NIL, that aren't just jealous. The new media understands it, but it seems like all of these people, and it's like all of these, the WNBA media and the people that some of these things are hiring, some of these companies are hiring, they don't care about basketball. They just want it to be a gotcha against Caitlin Clark. But anyway, I'll see you guys.